Welcome to another edition of the Committed 100 Ministry Group, where I am 100% committed to teaching the Bible to those who are 100% committed to learn. And we're going to be continuing in our verse by verse study of the Book of Proverbs. And we are in chapter 14. And you got to forgive me because I don't know what's happening to my brain. I need either more sleep, more coffee, or more sleep, less coffee, or something. But I kept saying chapter 9 last night in the evening message where we were going in Proverbs, and it's chapter 14. I tell you, you get older and, stuff starts to happen. But anyway, we're in chapter 14 of the book of Proverbs. Maybe I ought to just have a sign up, a little sticky paper, something reminding me of what's being played and when. That way I can know for myself. But thank you for those who are tuning in live right now. And for those who are going to be watching later, again, we are currently in our verse by verse study of the book of Proverbs. We've been in Proverbs quite some time, and that's fine because, as I said, exposition of any text takes time. And if we're going to do it right, then we're going to take the time to do it. And without any further ado, last time we were looking at verse 23, where the proverbist reminds us, in all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to penury, or as we would call it in our vernacular, being broke. And I had mentioned in closing, working without talking pays off with profit. In other words, you have a job, go do it. A lot of people, the expression is that they spend their time at the water cooler and all they do is just start talking and jaw flapping. You're not getting paid to be at the water cooler unless it's your break or your lunch. Or if you have to get water, get it and go back to your job. You're getting paid to work, not to talk. And people that have a tendency to do a lot of talking, they wind up being broke. And we've explained and will explain why. Talking without working will produce poverty. You'll find a lot of people that don't work but do a lot of talking. Well, they wind up being unemployed. And I gave you last time 4 things to notice, and there are a couple of more in the next slide here. Notice the person on the job who always talks about cutting corners to get things done with less labor. A lot of people do that. Notice the person on the job who boasts of how they can get over without working, but by manipulating others to do the work for him or her. And that is a real danger. We have people and I've worked with people who, try to get me to do their job. I'm not doing your job for you. I don't get paid to do your job and mine. I get paid to do mine. You get paid to do yours. You do yours. And that's the way I look at things. And we do what we do because we're assigned to do a particular task, and that's all we should be doing anyway. Notice the person on the job who always complains about how difficult their work is when they do no work on their jobs. Well, if it's that difficult, find another job. Either be quiet or find another job. There are always people that are divisive. They're always talking and they're always yammering with their mouths, but they never really do any work. You don't want to be around those people. They don't benefit you. They don't benefit the company. They are strained on production. They need to be gone. And notice the person who has to have others do their work for them because they're lazy. Can't stand a lazy person. And I just refused to work with lazy people. I just leave them alone. And I don't know when or where we have gotten to the place in this country where we are so tolerant and protective of laziness and stupidity, but I'm not going to have it. And I just don't. I don't tolerate it. I never will. And, even in the martial arts, when people are lazy, I don't tolerate that. When they don't want to do what's required, I don't tolerate it. I'm not one to encourage the continued malaise of laziness and stupidity, which apparently our culture really loves to do. I'm just not part of that. Notice that person from a distance because that person is headed for the unemployment line. Yeah, notice that person from a distance. You keep working and you just keep watching that person. You're going to learn some very valuable lessons. And oftentimes that may be the best part of being at your job is learning to scan, situational awareness with people. You know the people who are going to work, the people that are lazy, what have you. You know the people going to work in the church, ones that are lazy. You just see these things, you make mental notes. Notice that person from a distance because sooner or later that person's going to be unemployed. And lastly, notice them from a distance and don't be like them, lest you fall into poverty like them. It's tempting for some people to look at a person who they think is getting over, who's boasting, I'm getting over on this and that, and I'm doing it. And it might be tempting for you to want to take the so called easy path. Now, a person like that who is considering looking at someone else who was slothful, lazy, and what we used to call slick, you might want to emulate that person, and that same person you emulate might be looking to get you fired. They wind up blaming you. I don't know anything about it, but so and so was the one who was doing or not doing so and so. They're not doing their job. You got to be careful. And I'm going to say this. You go to your job for you. You don't go to your job for anybody else. You work and you labor and you do what you do for you and for the person that hired you. That's it. See, I like to keep things very simple. You keep things simple and you eliminate a lot of stress in your life. You wonder why that lady or that guy, they come to work and they just sitting at their terminal, whatever, and they're quiet. They're doing their job. That's what they get paid for. They don't get paid to be distracted. They get and you get upset at them because they won't talk to you and waste their time jaw flapping with you. They recognize they have a job to do and they do their job and you need to leave them alone. If anything, you're to follow their example. All right, let's move to verse 24. The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is foolish, or folly means foolish. Now, the wise person or a wise person who is made wealthy by God is in a position with their wealth and riches to honor God and to do good in this world. And wisdom yields spiritual riches as well because no earthly wealth is to be compared with her. And that's very important. So a person that is wise, of course, he or she makes the priority of their life spiritual wealth, spiritual riches. They're more concerned about having a life that is wealthy in the things of God than the things of this world. And as such, if they are so, let's just say, given of God to have wealth, well, they should be able to, as Paul told Timothy and commanded Timothy to command those that are rich in this world's goods, not to be proudful, high-minded, and trust in the uncertainty of riches, but to give it away, to help people with the money that you have. God gives certain people abundant wealth so that they can give it away. And I've dealt with that so many times, I'm not going to belabor that point. To give it away to help needs, to help people in need, especially and first in the church, because there are a lot of people in the church that have needs. And I'm not talking about the pastor, I'm not talking about the building drive or whatever. I'm talking about folks that have literal needs. Help them first. That's the priority. But spiritual riches have, oh my goodness, much more value because no earthly wealth is to be compared with her, which we've seen in the book of Proverbs over and over again. But foolish conduct produces more foolishness. That's all it can do. A person who is foolish, all they're going to do is produce more foolishness. Now, what I like about, and the reason why I labeled this study contrast in wisdom is you could see the wisdom of God versus the foolishness of man. And it's that really simple. You look at a person, you go, that person is walking in the wisdom of God. You look at the other, that person is a fool. That's it. You don't debate about trying to make a fool wise in your own eyes when there's nothing wise about that individual. The only thing a foolish person can produce is more foolishness. So if you see a lot of foolishness coming out of an individual, well, the Bible's clear as to why. But the foolishness of fools is folly. That's all they can do. They produce more foolishness. Our conduct will determine what kind of consequences will happen in our lives. Fearing God produces one set of consequences, and being a fool produces another set of consequences. It's really that simple. And in light of what we just saw at the end of last week and just a few moments ago about the conduct of a person on their job, as an example, well, the person that goes to work and he or she is working, that person's wise because they're working for themselves and they're working for their employee. The other person's a fool because they spend their time yapping all the time and doing nothing, or doing as little as they can, though they get paid to do a lot more than what they're doing. Verse 25, a true witness delivereth souls, but a deceitful witness speaketh lies. Now, oftentimes you'll find that the book of Proverbs uses this terminology, and it really is in a court setting. A lot of these descriptions are in court settings. Israel was a theocracy, and much of you see these terminology, and we'll see it again. The true witness delivered souls. Well, what do you mean delivered? Well, it's talking about a court case, and a true witness, of course, will speak the truth so that an innocent person who's being held will get off because they don't deserve to be uh, held in any kind of contempt or guilt because they haven't done anything. But a person who's deceitful is going to keep speaking lies. So I want you to imagine a courtroom setting where you have people that are witnesses to a particular crime or alleged crime, and they know the person's innocent. And so they're going to testify, a faithful witness, someone who is truthful. Faithful refers to someone who is truthful. Okay. A true witness delivers souls. So a true witness, a true testimony, rather, from a faithful witness will deliver a life from unjust punishment, whereas a perjurer will lie at the drop of a hat. And we've seen this already in verse 5. I'm not going to go back there again. So if you ever have the experience of being called to a courtroom and to give testimony about anything, the key is be a true witness. Don't lie. I've been called, or should I say, I've been involved in accidental testimony, both of others and myself. And the officers made it clear that there might be a case for you to have to come to court to testify. Would you do it? I said, yeah, of course I would. Because I'm a primary eyewitness. I would expect, and I was looking to get some kind of notification of these various cases, and it never happened because I think the evidence spoke for itself. But if I were to be called into court, I would give true testimony because I'm a true witness. I don't like lying at all. I don't like it. Verse 26, in the fear of the Lord is strong confidence, and his children shall have a place of refuge. A person who is fearing God is a person who can rest in God's security, no matter what the circumstances of life. Now, over the last few years, particularly in this country, you know, the pre-COVID, the COVID, the post-COVID, whatever, we were pretty much told we're all going to die and that's it. I mean, it was hopelessness abounded. And I just made up in my mind, it really wasn't that much of a stretch, to trust the Lord in all things, that he would see us through. And we went through some dark times, no doubt. We lost friends, dear friends, to this mess and to what have you. And but the Lord saw us all through. We survived. I had COVID and long COVID, for over a year. And I still say to this day, I'm still feeling some of the effects of it. But the Lord brought us through. And he is our strong confidence. And I just decided I'm not going to trust in the media. So I pretty much stopped watching 90% of it. Other than weather, that was pretty much where I was going. Because you're being bombarded every day with so many lies. Even to this day, you're being bombarded with so many lies. And you have to make up in your mind one or two choices: listen to the lies or just don't listen at all. And I prefer the latter because I want to keep hearing from the Lord. And I'll say this: I think we're in a position within the church world or professing Christianity or whatever, that if we're going to continue to entertain lies and make lies our refuge, we're never going to hear from God. If we're so busy looking to hear the latest lie and the latest this or that from the political scene, I doubt very seriously if God is talking to you, because you don't want to hear from him, but you want to hear from your favorite news source because you voted for and you believe in and all that. But God wants you to be listening to him and having him as your strong confidence. And I'm convinced that a lot of people don't have that. But no matter what the circumstances of life are to the believer, fearing the Lord is a strong confidence. And this does not mean by any circumstances that our life and our circumstances outwardly will be pleasing. That's not even the point. The point is, no matter what the circumstances are, we can be confident in knowing that fearing God is true security. And again, and we've already seen that in various teachings of the Book of Psalms, especially that we went through the Book of Psalms many, many years ago. And there's no question in my mind about the fact that fearing God is the best place that you could be. And there are a lot of people that are putting their trust in their securities and wealth and riches. And that hasn't stopped, that hasn't changed. If anything, it's gotten even more so post-COVID, that people are kind of fearful about pretty much everything and wait for the next shoe to drop. Now, all of a sudden, the new measles outbreak, 300 cases in a country of 360 million people is not an outbreak, okay? It's just incredible how people are being led to be believing all kinds of foolishness. And bird flu, none of those things are new. None of them. None of them at all. It's just amazing how people are being led to believe absolute nonsense. And I have to give credit to Hikmet Hannah. He was talking about how on social media, there's so many stupid things being put out there. And people just taking stuff and they're just putting it out there without any consciousness of whether the things are true or not. They're just putting it out there because it serves whatever narrative they want to do it. And I have to give it to him on that he's correct. And just ridiculous things. And I just cut a lot of that stuff out. Like, nope, nope, nope. Or I just block it all together. Are you interested in getting more of this content? No, not interested. No. I am no more interested in listening to that rubbish than people are no more interested in wanting to hear me talk about the Bible and truth. Okay, so we have something in common. I don't want to hear your trash because you don't want to hear the truth. Okay, so we have something in common. That is, we're listening to that which we deem to be more important. And what's more important to me, of course, is the Lord. So I'm not really looking at the circumstances to make my decisions whether I should trust in God or whether God is for me. God is for me because he said it, and I'm his child. Now, again, a lot of people are placing their confidence in their wealth as their security. And it says in Psalm 118, verses 9 and 10, it's better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. Princes being the best of men, putting confidence in the Lord in, let's just say, the best of your political officials or other people in leadership. But again, that has a lot to do with things politically minded, princes or rulers or what have you. So, but the princes would also be that which is a reference to the best of man in the political realm. So if you have people that you like and are confident that it's better to trust in the Lord. I'll say it in our vernacular so we can understand it. It's better to trust in the Lord than Donald Trump. There are a lot of people that trust in Donald Trump. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care if you like it or not, frankly. I think, frankly, and I've watched this man. I've watched how he's playing everybody, especially he's trolling everybody who are liberal, who hate him. Donald Trump is no dummy. And I think the dummies are the ones who think Donald Trump is a dummy. That man is a genius, and you don't see it. I'm not saying that he's flawless. I'm not saying he's smart in what he's doing. He's not a politician, but he knows how to play the game. He knows how to play the role, and he's a whole lot different than what he was the first go around. He's a master at this thing. He's had years to look at everything. He's had years to deal with the afflictions that happened to him, the lies of the left and the radicals. So I'm just saying the dude is a shrewd genius. You can believe it or not. I don't care. I'm just giving you my opinion, and it's mine. Okay, it doesn't have to be yours, and you don't have to like it. And I don't care if you like it or not. Okay, grow up. There are some people that believe this, and some people believe that I was going to believe what I believe, and that's fine. Be grown up about it. Okay, the guy is a genius, and I'm just watching. Go, he's playing everybody. The dude knows what he's doing. And the tariffs and everything, it's going to make this country wealthy. However, having said all of that, it's better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. Don't put your confidence in Donald Trump, his wonderful administration, and the media and everything. Don't put confidence in him. Trust in the Lord. That's the clear contrast. It's better. It is far more to your advantage and mine to put confidence and trust in the Lord than it is to put, confidence in princes. All nations compassed me about, but in the name of the Lord will I destroy them. That's incredible. Here's a man, see David saying, look, the people want me dead, but it's not going to happen. Proverbs 3, verses 25 and 26. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. It's coming. Don't be afraid of sudden fear. Okay, if there's anything that we should have learned from the COVID nonsense, both positive and negative, both real and imagination or imaginary, and that is sudden fear. I mean, we were all just jettisoned to be totally in terror and have no confidence except in the lies of government and the bigger lies in the field of experimental medicine. And it's really not even medicine. Vaccines are just a lie at that particular point. Stuff's never really been tested, not to the standard of which needed to be tested. And please, don't insult my intelligence. I worked in medical for 9 years. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not talking about some clickbait or some clip off from some whatever. So please don't even talk to me about that. Those vaccines were never really tested to the degree where all vaccines were tested before they were even considered to be sent to market. Between 7 and 10 years of testing was needed. Never done. Sudden fear. You have to get this. If you don't get this, you're going to die, and your friends are going to die. And if they don't get vaxxed, well, you need to hate them. And people got caught up in that stupidity and began hating each other. Well, more of the people that were subjected to this poison were hating those of us who said no. And I said no. I'm not taking that junk. I have an immune system. It's going to do me just fine. Get out my face and leave me alone. And I'm still here. And people that took that jab aren't here. A lot of people die because of that vaccine, that poison. And we all know it. People deny it. I don't care if you deny. The sun came up this morning. You can deny it. It's still there. There are a lot of people that deny the simplicity of reality of things. I can't help them. They can't help themselves. I certainly can't help them. So sudden fear is something that you need to do this now. You need to get away from me. I need time to pray and to think and seek the Lord. I'll need time to respond to your sudden fear. The Bible teaches us about that, about sudden fear. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of the destruction of the wicked when they're coming. The wicked is going to come against you. Don't be afraid. David said, we need to have confidence in the Lord, for the Lord shall be thy confidence and shall keep thy foot from being taken. And he knows that. Okay. He knows that from experience. He's not just making a platitude. He knows from experience that you have to trust the Lord. I mean, people wanted him dead, and that's a whole lot different than what we're going through. All right. That's it for today. Hopefully, as always, something is shared that's going to be a blessing and a help to your life and to mine. And Lord willing, next time we're going into Psalm 119.